Greetings humans and welcome back to Arrows and Grand Prix World. We are approaching the midpoint of the 2005 season and everything's pretty much going to plan, if your name's Pedro Diniz. We've also been spending our money at an increased rate. I feel I should touch on that since the budget has always been kind of a running topic in both this playthrough and the Minardi playthrough. Obviously, a $15 to $16 million cushion in your budget doesn't need to be there. It's essentially untapped potential, but at the same point you have to be very careful about the sustainability of the team, which again is always something that's at the forefront of our mind. So having spent a butt ton of money, we should begin to maybe touch on what the limitations are, because even though that budget is huge, it's F1 and it's very, very easy to spend it all. The first thing to say is that obviously the bulk of our spending went into the test program. We were spending about $1 million per round on testing alone. That is no longer necessary. We're now on the 7th evolution of our Works Ford power unit. Again, we're still on V10 formula and everything is completely full. We have minimal tyre testing left to complete, and we have finished as well our race fuels and lubricants development program. So the bulk of what we were spending is now going to decrease. However, where we're not going to see our spending decrease is through our hirings and firings and whatnot. Obviously firings being an incorrect word to use because we haven't fired anybody. You'll see here that our wage budget per annum is really starting to build up. And so we might see for the remainder of this season that our profits begin to shrink, and we may even fall into a situation where we're losing money. That's okay, because firstly we're starting from a very, very high point. So any reduction is perfectly manageable. Secondly, the extra staff will enable us to continue doing the sort of thing that we are doing now. Primarily, we are now able to pick up the highest paying sponsors in the game, the level 5 team sponsors. That's really restricted to championship winning teams for the most part. Over in engines, that's the only remaining change really we could make, aside from moving into merchandising, which we're about to do actually, just because it's something we haven't touched on as yet. What do I mean by the engine situation? Well, up until now, and including this season, a big driver for our decision making has been this: can we secure money from a partner for consecutive seasons but only invest the staff once? And again, we're still in a position where working with Ford makes sense for us. Our championship wins have all come with Ford power, I believe. Ford have been a reliable partner of ours now for several seasons, and you can see that we're not even halfway through the season and we've already managed to complete negotiations on that works deal, obtain all possible bonuses and get all of that guaranteed for 2 years. That means we are definitely 100% going to get that $8 million. They're not going to mess us around on a performance basis or on a whim. However, they are not the highest payers, and if we find our wage budget continues to grow, then we might have to start working with people like Ferrari and Mercedes-Benz and Peugeot on a regular basis, because you see here money, research and development. A higher research and development like Ford has means they're more likely to produce a strong engine and they're more likely to deliver regular updates to you. A higher money score means you can either achieve higher output on your works contracts, or in the case of a partnership, it means the bonuses pay a little bit higher. So you see, Ford aren't really flush for cash. They invest all their money in research and development, which means their engines tend to be rather strong comparatively, but they're the lowest paying works deal usually. So you see, we're getting $8 million a season now if you recall, even Persia were paying like 10.4 million per season at one point. Mercedes and Ferrari have the potential to go higher than that still. And it might be that for our final seasons in the game, we switch to Ferrari or Mercedes, depending on our needs. At the moment, I'm perfectly happy to carry on with Ford. I think we can balance our budget without too much effort. No new partners have entered, so not really anyone else we could be talking to right now. We're still at the moment working with Mobil on the basis that they've been producing the most balanced of the race fuels consistently, and again we've started to form something of a relationship with them, and again you can see that reflected by the fact that we have been able to tie up a deal really quickly. Obviously some of that is synergy, some of it is the results the team is delivering, some of it is the skill and quality of our commercial department, and some of it is the sweet hospitality rich people parties that we've been throwing, what with helicopters and plastic looking crockery that isn't actually plastic, and salt and pepper, so you know we're talking luxury. No condiments though. Then again, tomato ketchup's not really a high flyer kind of sauce, is it? They'd have brown sauce. So really our remaining avenues of revenue are to chase primary service partners based solely on the cash they deliver rather than the utility of the deal, and to begin dropping staff over here. What I'm going to do is looking here, demand for team branded clothing is pretty high. Additionally, watches and cars carrying our brand are in demand. Now that never pays as much as a regular sponsor, so we should always focus on filling these boxes and getting as many bonuses as possible. However, there is absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be chasing these deals at a certain point. Now you see, getting cars takes a lot of work. That's basically somewhere between a partner and a works deal. So you have to be very, very fortunate, be running a huge and very talented commercial department to be able to squeeze that in. It really doesn't work out very frequently, but of course this tier delivers the greatest revenue to the team in exchange for handing out your license. We've got 1% of our guys working on a deal for clothing. It's not going particularly well right now, so I'm going to see if we can't free up some more guys. We can free up 1% from there. Just because I want to see if I can't negotiate us a cheeky deal. So we've got one. There we go. Nice round 5%, working on that now. And the difference between your licensing income and your sponsor income is what you negotiate here comes into your budget next year. And again, unless you have a guarantee, you're not going to get the complete sum here. Please always do bear that in mind and don't start spending money before you've got it. The money you make from licensing comes in now. So although it's not generally very much money and it can take a lot of time to negotiate, if your team is really, really struggling to make it to the end of the season for whatever reason, that is an option that's open to you. If you've got excess staff, you can try, and you probably have to fire a few of them. Bringing your wage budget down can cause you costs in terms of legal defense from people who take you to court for firing them for no reason, but it is the easiest way to bring down your spending, that and cutting your test program. But you can also boost your income this season. It does come at the expense of next season's deals, so please always do be careful with it. I, as a general rule, only go for licensing deals after I've concluded all possible sponsor negotiations, because what you get next year is far higher than what you could get this year, usually. That said, I think that covers us for most topics. Everyone's nice and signed up, we don't have much to worry about there. Morale is generally good, drivers are talented. Deniz seems to be on course at the moment to pick himself up another championship, which I think we're all very, very happy about, particularly because it's Fisichella that's leaving us at the end of this season. I'm going to dramatically cut the length of the test program. Around 500,000 I think is enough. We'll call it 200 miles in total, and engine and fuel testing will now cease completely, and we will instead boost slightly testing support in other areas to compensate. I don't think we really need to be doing that level of Forschung testing actually, but nevertheless, why don't we even further reduce the mileage perhaps? Something like 180 miles. Let's run that. Yep, that gets us pretty much what we need. In terms of tyres, I think that will give us 2 to 3 points to spend. So I'm gonna go for the intermediates actually, because I think you use them more often. And then we'll do one final big tyre test to get us enough points to max out the wet weather tyre. Smashing. So we will clear the wear and tear off these cars, and then to the design office, dear friends, because we need to make sure that we are still staying on top of technology, making sure that, again, we make hay while the sun shines, as it were. Obviously next year's car's already complete. Here we go. Automatic gear system. Is that legal? It is not. We're really running into a problem with that. I think we may have reached some kind of limitation. I don't think Loic Bigua or our design team is capable of breaching this right now. Nevertheless, we'll see what we can do. We have completed maximum amount of construction, all the spare parts are done, but it's fine, we've got enough economic capacity to really tackle things across the course of a season. The next thing we should be looking at as well is to remember that we have ordered the most expensive factory add-on, which is our new wind tunnel, due for completion at the start of next season. That's costing us basically $1 million a Grand Prix as well, so our overall drain on budget, considering our actual outgoings, isn't terribly high. Again, once you get to this stage, it should be easier to pick up guarantees from your sponsors, and don't just, once you're in a dominant position like we are now, once you've got all that capacity, don't necessarily shift all your guys off a deal just because you've got all the bonuses. Stick around for that guarantee, because it really does make a difference. Even if you're winning, you'll still find that sponsors will hold out on you a little bit, and it's good to just make sure you've shored up your sources of income. Right, so let us progress. By the way, just want to take another moment to say we've managed to come up with another livery that I'm quite happy with. The Minardi one I'm pleased with. Something else we should bear in mind actually is that Goodyear are not happy with us particularly, but that's fine because we were thinking of switching to Bridgestone anyway. Ford and Murano were building up some kind of relationship. Mobil are very happy with us right now. Fond Metal and Brembo, and but it's really should be guys like PIAA and Fond Metal, not Fond Metal, PIAA and Danker that we have good relationships with, but it seems Danker are actually a bit cold on us right now, very cold in fact. Playlife still love us. That's based entirely on our performances and the success we've shared together, and we of course do appreciate them sponsoring us, but they can't bring the financial big gunnery that we'll get from partnering with Murano next season. We're not changing driver orders, there's no point imposing any kind of restriction like that, but it seems unlikely that Deniz is going to turn things around at this point. Sorry, not Deniz, Fisichella. Let's make sure everyone's got the latest evolution of everything what's available. Do we have any new intermediates? Apparently not. Any... Okay, everyone's got the latest of everything. No new driver aids to deploy still, which is a little bit sad. Let's go to Canada. 26 degrees, very dry and a very strong wind, although it never specifies a direction on that screen, so we don't really know what the effect's going to be. Cars are spec'd out correctly. I always like to double check. Alexander Wurz takes another pole position for Ferrari, 118.188, and teammate Celso Moreira recovers his qualifying performances to take second on a 118.307. A tenth down the road is our very own Pedro Diniz on a 118.406. Juan Pablo Montoya and Johnny Herbert continue Jordan's strong qualifying form to take 4th and 5th. Michael Schumacher lines up 6th on the grid, just fractionally ahead of our very own Giancarlo Fisichella, although he is on the slower tyre. Irvine, Coulthard and Hakkinen finish the top 10. Down at the bottom it's still Prost. Unfortunately, Tuero and Marini just not the guys for the job, it seems. 21 degrees and light rain with a strong wind for race day. That could throw a spanner in the works a little bit. Although Diniz isn't too shabby in the wet. We will one stop Fisico, assuming that the weather dries up. We'll do a 35-34 split, and we'll run Diniz nice and light. Again, the car doesn't really have the 1 lap pace, so qualifying still is not our strong suit, and we are working to address that, because I think at this point we should be chasing pole positions rather than attempting overtaking on the track. Let's see what we can do. Well, someone finished. Pedro Diniz takes another win, lapping everyone up to and including Jean Alesi in 3rd. This car is sensational. He's sensational, the team is sensational. He finished the race in a 1:38.54.31. The next guy down the road is Eddie Irvine, 1 hour 39 minutes 16 seconds. To me, that's a massive advantage we've got over everyone up to Jean Alesi in 3rd. I don't know how Irvine kept pace with us. I really don't. I don't think the Williams is necessarily that strong on outright race pace. Maybe he ran a weird strategy during the course of the race, but it seems odd that either that or Williams has comparable race pace to us but started much further down. But still, I mean, we lapped everyone up to 4th twice. I mean, that is insane. Alessandro Marini's Prost and Emmanuel College Stewart got lapped a sensational 6 times. Engine failure took out Giancarlo Fisichella. I think we're going to have to turn him down. I don't know what's going on because we're not controlling the race ourselves, but something is happening that's causing him to encountered numerous failures. He's not always having accidents, it's more often than not a failure, so he's just driving the car too hard. Pedro Diniz extends his lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship. He sat on 53 kingly points. Alexander Wurz has leapfrogged Giancarlo Fisichella to take 2nd, and Fisichella sits in 3rd on 24 points, only 2 points clear of Michael Schumacher. In the Constructors, not even worth talking about, with more than double the tally of Ferrari in 2nd. Only 1 point separates Williams and Ferrari at this point, and Jordan lack now 10 points to reclaim 3rd, so a bit of a gap building up there, but Ferrari and Williams seem to be very closely matched. Let's see what we can do now. Any hiring to do? Yeah, let's drop some more cash. We are losing money, but again, a lot of what we're spending now will not be permanent expenditure. Worry too much. We'll get some more high quality mechanics working for us too. Let's check where we are on the design front. We've got some new technology to deploy. That makes me happy. We'll boost the reliability of our brakes as well, I think. Driver aid is not ready, but we are prepared to move on to the modelling stage for our new diffuser. Sexy, sexy stuff. Let's put the brake upgrade on the car straight away. And we'll fill up our spare part reserves. Again, that's spending money, but we've got plenty. We've got plenty. And really, you know, this is our final stage of big infrastructural spending. Anything that comes now will be very minor upgrades to things like the wind tunnel or the supercomputer as they age and technology moves on. Also, our test programs are going to be concluded even faster next season. I think we're in a pretty safe place. We will run, yeah, 225 miles I think is pretty decent level of testing. Have we moved everything on here? Yes, we have. This should enable us actually to finish up our attempted automatic gearing system. So let's see if that actually works. No. Start a servo brake program. We need an even more talented designer. Technically, a level 4 designer should be able to design level 4 driver aids, particularly with a skilled team, but as you get closer to their limit, it becomes harder to achieve. So it seems we're just not having any luck there. Over in testing result land, again, we only have tyres to worry about. New wet weather tyres, and that concludes our tyre testing program. I'm not going to run a new test purely to put 1 point on the soft compound tyres for a guy who's already dominating the championship. It really doesn't make any sense. I don't think the tyres need that point, and there's no point putting extra wear and expenditure into the program. Let's repair Fisico's chassis. We'll take the wear off all 3 cars, and then we'll restock the spare parts and proceed to France. Now, obviously, we're going to drop by sponsors as well, just see how things are panning out there, see if we're making friends, making dollar bills. We've concluded an agreement with Prix, so we're going to sign that before they sign with anyone else. And I'm going to... oh, we've also signed with Danker, that's excellent. Again, they're only 1-season deals, but I'm going to leave guys on there to try and sneak us some bonus action. No guarantee yet from Murano, but we'll stick at it. And no guarantee as yet from Mobile 1, but it's coming. We're getting there. I think we will take Ford off our program now, and I think we should bring along let's bring along PIAA, and we'll ditch Murano for a round actually to bring along Danker and just see if we can't use that to leverage some cheeky advantage. We'll drop them down to 10% apiece, which should be enough to conclude that. And we will bring a new sponsor into play. Castrol or Patronus, which will go better with our livery. I think Patronus, actually. So let's bring Patronus in. That means we're dropping Castrol unless we can sneak them in as well, but feels a little bit greedy. Let's take a look at how our livery is looking now. Yeah, I like it. I do like it. Danker doesn't like it because you can't see their logo. It's blended into the paint, but whatever. Not really our problem. So, everything's set up. I might drop Mobile actually and bring Goodyear along as well, just in case. We don't want to burn bridges. if we don't need to. I think it's also good to remember, by the way, guys, to continue to reward your long-standing sponsors, even if you're in the middle of a 2-season deal, because it'll just make re-signing that deal, if you want to, that much easier, if they're happy with you. It becomes hard to once you get to around where we are now, there's sort of a tipping point where you don't really need the extra muscle from the VIP program to actually secure deals, although it does grease the wheels. And instead, you've got to find that balance between using it to attract new sponsors, but also to reward existing ones to just make your job easier for next year. It's all about balancing your load between this year and the next one. We've signed all our new bods. We're getting a lot of star workers as well in our commercial department, which is very helpful. Let's turn down Fisichella. See if that helps with his component failure issues. We're going to go all in on Deniz to see what's actually possible. So he's going to have an extra setup point in every field just because we can. He's been an incredibly loyal servant of the team, and he's delivered consistently the last few seasons. And this is a chance really for Fisichella to show us that he can start getting some finishes, because at the moment the Constructors' Championship by the end of the season is going to be, the vast majority of the points are going to be Deniz's, so we might as well run a one-car entry. Smash it. 25 degrees, cloudy with a strong wind for qualifying. Again, I haven't really been tracking how that affects us because we've been so dominant, but I think it'd be alright. Juan Pablo Montoya gets the first pole position of his career, showing the Jordan's pace with a 1:15.444. That's the first pole position of the season that hasn't gone to Alexander Wurz, who lines up second in his Ferrari, 1:15.547. Bit of a gap there. Pedro Diniz takes third for us on a 1:15.623. Pretty good lap from him, actually, considering our general weakness in qualifying. Johnny Herbert takes fourth for Jordan, so strong showing from them, out-qualifying Celso Moreira's Ferrari. Irvine and Hakkinen separate Moreira from our very own Giancarlo Fisichella, who takes 8th. That's okay, he's on the slower tyre and he's got no setup points, so he's running at that disadvantage, let's not forget. And continually, as ever, Prost and Stewart are the losers. 29 degrees and cloudy for race day. Everything's looking sexy. Fisichella will be doing a 36-35 split on the hard compound tyre, see if he can't make up some time. We might try him on the soft tyre towards the end of the season, since it's working so well with the car and Deniz. I haven't favoured either driver so far, and split strategy has been enabled Fisichella to deliver in the past, so I don't feel that doing it this way has disadvantaged him inherently. I just think, well, we've pretty much got a firm grip on the constructors now, so we might as well try something special with Fisichella to see if we can't keep his title hopes alive, just as a token gesture. But to be honest, our focus, I'm perfectly fine with throwing it entirely behind Deniz. Another championship win will make sure he comes into next season in the best possible spirits, which helps us, and gives him a good chance of taking it to Alexander Wurz, who will be looking for his first World Championship. Oh my god. Well, Pedro Diniz took another win, 1:35.27.050. I mean, that's 50.4-ish seconds clear of Eddie Irvine. He's basically half a lap. He's like half a lap clear of Eddie Irvine by the end of the race. He's lapped everyone up to and including John Lacey in 6th. I mean, just dominant. Williams get both drivers on the podium, Irvine leading Schumacher on the 2-3. Coulthard and Hakkinen also teammates coming home in succession. Coulthard obviously leading there. And the final point goes to Jean Alesi in his Sauber, who's doing a heroic job at Sauber this season actually, and so is Mika Salo. Engine failure again took out Giancarlo Fisichella. I really don't know what more we can do there. We can't develop the engine any further. So there's obviously something amiss. Maybe we can figure it out. Drivers' Championship, Fisichella slips down the rankings further. He now sits 4th, 2 points behind Michael Schumacher and 4 points behind Alexander Wurz. Pedro Diniz extending his lead. He now sits on 63 points, and he's essentially an untouchable godlike figure, much like the team. Williams leapfrogged Ferrari to take 2nd in the Constructors' Championship, but they are still less than 50% of our points tally, and we sit top the pile of teams on 87 points. Magnificent. Let's see if we've picked up anything else. I thought I was recording there for a second, but I wasn't. But you didn't miss anything. No guarantee there yet. No guarantee here, but we did stop taking them. And Petronas have signed with somebody else. That means we're taking Castrol, it seems. Let's see if we improved any of these deals. No, but it's early days. And we've made some progress towards some team-branded clothing. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you're very, very well. And I will talk to you very, very shortly. Take it easy.